So it's just, but, and this is the way the pots look before the white slip is applied. This is the color of the clay. And then, of course, like I showed you, this is the natural color or the way the clay looks when it comes out of the earth. And that's what we do. And then and then we grind our shards, our pottery shards. I usually don't add too much because the clay that we dig out of where we get our clay is not as it's not as fine, it's not as good as what we used to get. And so if you add too much shards to it, they will crack. And I think this one had too many shards because when you do put the paint on there, when you wet it, then you get all these like little spider wet cracks. You can see it at the bottom of where the orange is. Now, I'm not sure if it's gonna be visible when I fire it. I'm gonna try it. Yes. No, it has not been fired. Okay. And that's the color it looks before it's fired. Then they will come out like you see those pots right there. The colors change.
So it changes the colors. Now, it's been fired once, though, right?
Yes, you only now you can't fire it again if it needs touch-ups or something. You can refire it, but it's fired once, and if it's electric, in a kiln-fired pot, we use an 04 cone. That's what the temperature. I can't remember what it says. I just set it on and leave it, but it gets pretty hot. But of course it takes longer. You have to leave it, like if I fire at 5 o'clock in the evening, it's not ready to take the pots out till the next morning about 7 or 8 o'clock. I let it cool completely. So that's how we do it. But like I said, if it's outdoor fire, you can get it done, in a couple of hours. But your chances of, getting all of them out of the fire without chipping or cracking is higher than an electric fired pot.
What percentage of them break?
If I just did it outside, probably about maybe 50% of it. Yeah, yeah.
Now, do you use a potter's wheel to make yours? I know you do it by hand, but...
No, but I took a class making pottery on the wheel at UNM, and I plastered the whole wall. I put clay on there, and zoom, it flew off. Good thing nobody was standing there. Everything is done by hand. Everything. From, start to finish, it's all done by hand. And the only thing, like I said, is the firing. I do kiln fire. But I know there's a lot of people out there from Acoma who say, oh, we're the only ones that still fire outdoors. Don't even believe it. 99.9% of Acoma pottery is kiln fired. It is. Yes. So, I hear a lot of that. I say, well, we're so-and-so, we're looking for them because they're the only ones that fire outdoors. No, they don't, is what I feel like saying, but, I keep my mouth shut. Yes, you can correct them. Yes. But of course, like you can ask Derek, he tells me, he goes, oh, this pot isn't signed. Who made this? And I said, if my daughter didn't sign her name to it, I'll sign my name to it. Because sometimes Derek tells me, your daughter is getting so good and getting to paint like you're going to, I can't tell the difference sometimes. So, yeah, I just put my name on. So she has to make sure she puts her name on there.
How long does it take for that to dry? The paint that you're putting?
It just dries right away. It just dries, It just dries, yes, See, like I just put that on there, and then like I can touch it. Like that. Yeah, it just soaks into the right away. And then usually I use my commercial brush. I'll use it to because it carries more paint and stuff. Then I'll use it to fill in like this. That's what I use. Yes, I use these. Yeah. It's just faster, so that's what I use. So that's why I said I use commercial brushes, and it can, you can carry the paint for a while. So I do this when I fill in.
You can actually see it better from the TV than we can in real life.
I didn't want to step in front of the camera, so I couldn't do it.
So that's how I do it. And like I said, my daughter, she's gotten used to paint with a commercial brush. She's pretty quick at it, but it's a number 2 that it carries more paint. But you have to learn how to use it where you just use the tip of it, and that's what she's learned how to do.
Yeah.
People say, "God, that's big." I said, "Yeah, but you only use the very tip," and that's what she's learned how to do. Yes. So that's what she uses, but I use both, like I said, and then on the real large pots, I will use like that large pot right there that was painted with a yucca brush.
Okay.
So, but the smaller the pot like this, you almost have to use real fine like this one is hair, and but you can depending on what kind of design you're gonna put on there, then you have to wait. Like if you used a yucca brush, you have to wait for about, I would say maybe 2 or 3 days after you've been painted. Then you can use it to do the real fine work. Like there's a pot right there that I did like a long time ago, the light pot. No, the smaller one with nothing but, yes, that one was done with a yucca brush. But it takes time, for the brush to get small. Yeah.
Looks like it took a really long time.
It takes, the light pots take a long time.
I assume yucca has little fibers, like almost like hairs.
Yes, I should have brought my yucca brushes, but I didn't bring any yucca brushes.
All I see is yucca growing by the side.
Yes. I had some in the freezer. I didn't even get any.
I don't know how many.
By the end of the day, will you have that pot all painted?
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this will be done.
So we have one of your plates.
Uh-huh.
How long do they take?
It depends on it all depends on the size and the kind of design you put on there. That's not mine. Or does it have my name on it?
Name on it.
Okay, then that's from a long time ago. That has to be,
He said he's guessing 30 years ago.
yes, because I used to use
Yeah.
color. And I wasn't getting that much for them, but it takes a lot of work. Because once you fill in the color, then you have to reline the whole pot again. And so I said, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to do it. My sisters are the only ones that do it. There's 5 of us. I'm the oldest, and then there's Marilyn, who does the storyteller figures, and then there's Carolyn Concho, and then there's Diane Lewis Garcia, and then there's Judy Lewis. She also does figures.
Yeah, we've been collecting we've been married 20-some years, and we've been collecting your whole family.
Oh,
I was really fortunate a couple of years ago to meet Carolyn Concho
Uh-huh.
up here at the Indian market.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a lot of her little plates.
Oh, yes.
And
I don't understand how that girl can paint. She paints like this. She paints this way. I can't paint like I have to go forward, but no, the way she paints, she makes it look so easy. But that's how she paints. We all have our different styles.
yeah, I can spot
Yes,
counties where
yes,
he's really good at spotting.
Maryland's, yes, yes. So, but we all, it's really been difficult for my sister Marilyn because her husband has had both of his legs amputated. So he's the one that used to go after the clay for her. So now she has to ask family members. Then we usually all get together, the young boys, and my sons about in '93, I believe, when they were still teenagers, they went after clay for us. They took the horses up there. And just recently, I asked my brother, Edward Lewis Jr., I asked him how the clay pit was because I haven't been out there since 20-some years ago. And when we went after it, we got, oh my gosh, we got a 55-gallon barrel full, and then I think it was a 25-gallon big old, supposed to put water in there, but we filled that up with clay. And so you can reuse the scrapings. After you scrape it, and then you can reuse that. Like when you mix new clay, if you put too much water in there, and that's what we just add to it, and then because it's already been mixed, so we mix that to our new clay. But he told me that the trail is really bad, and he said you can't even push a wheelbarrow through there anymore, and it's a footpath through there. You can't drive up, you can't drive up and say, okay, I'm here, get the shovel and load it up. So it's an all-day thing, and it's a family affair thing. You get everybody together, and you go out there and park at the bottom of the mesa, and you still have to walk, oh gosh, maybe half a mile, to the clay place, and then it might even be further than that. And then there's a place where we used to get the clay, the whole thing caved in. So people have dug other places in the surrounding area to get the clay, but it's like I said, it's not that real good clay. It's still good, but like I said, I don't add any shards to my clay anymore because it's not as fine or thick like the clay we used to use. And then there's other places where people have gotten clay, and I don't like that. It fires pink. I do not like that because even if you put the white slip on, when you fire it, the pink still comes through. So in some places it's kind of pink and white spots, and I don't like it, so I don't use that. But it's good for making bean pots because our bean pots are orange,
Right.
so we can make bean pots with that and polish them and polish the inside, and that's how we use that clay. But as far as making this kind of pottery, I just use the clay that fires. Sometimes it's off-white or like a beige color, but at least the color doesn't come through.
And now, is Amanda a good student of yours?
Yes, she's the best student. Yes, I'm really proud of her. She has a daughter, my granddaughter. She didn't come with us, but she paints. She'll sit there and she'll be painting away. She likes to paint, and I think I have her on here, but she loves to paint. And she'll ask me, Grandma, can I paint? And I tell her, yes, you can paint. I can't get it on. And I'll give her one of the, maybe a broken piece or something, and she'll sit there and she'll paint it. Yeah, she's 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's her.
The family.
Yes, Her brother, my oldest son is Daniel. He also paints and makes, but not like my daughter. And then we have My youngest daughter, she tried, but she's not really, she gets into it and she can do it, but not like Amanda. She's the only one that does it like all the time. So that's what we do. And then I have another daughter. Her name is Luana, but she really does. She's our bus driver. She drives the kids to and from school. But that's what we do. And, you know, like, see, the paint isn't always the same. See the difference between her paint and my paint? Okay. That's why you have to finish a pot completely and make sure you have enough paint, because your paint won't match. Like if you have to go back and do a touch-up or something, it will not match. So you always have to make sure you have enough paint. Yes, to finish a pot.
And so will you have enough paint to finish this pot?
Yes, I've got more than enough pot. I probably could have enough paint here to do all of these.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You
But-
don't have it on your hands or anything. I would be wearing it and have it everywhere.
I'm a messy. Look at my rock. It has all different colors of paints on there. I'm a messy worker. I paint messy. But we do have, like, we will look for paints like when you see some clay here and there when we go for walks, or we're going after maybe the white slip. The white slip and the clay are the worst ones. They're the most complicated ones to get. You have to climb a rock to get to the paint. And the clay, white slip, where we get our clay, it's like I said, it's a rough walk. And we just bring back a little at a time in little backpacks or little bags, and we bring them back to the edge of the mesa, and then we have somebody coming from the bottom and taking it down to, you know, to load up in the truck. And then with the white, it's the same. It's real steep. And Marilyn's husband, like I said, Bryant, he thought he could make it. He made it halfway up the mesa, and he said, I can't do it. He came back down. But to get that's even more difficult to get there, because you have to take some crowbars and sledgehammers and all kind of stuff. And then underneath where you get you have to chisel it out, you know. So it's hard to get to, and and that's why I tell people, you know, I'm sorry, like everything else, everything's going up. Yes, I do have to raise my prices every now and then. I said because of the work that goes into it. It's not something like people ask, how long does that take? I don't know. I don't clock in and out, so I can't say, you know. And there are times some people come to my shop, so I have to put my pottery down. But if yes, I have my little gallery there where I, you know, I do work from there. Yes, I'm there, but the Pueblo is still closed. They're not allowing any visitors. In fact, we're in total lockdown. We could only go in and out at the checkpoints. And even now, you know, you have to show your vaccination card, and they're encouraging. I think most of the people have gotten their booster. There's only a few more that haven't gotten their boosters, but.
That was hard when
Yeah.
it first started, because my daughter got stuck there. I had moved to Albuquerque, and I couldn't see my daughter because I didn't have the COVID shots or anything, and nobody could go in or out, and the kids couldn't leave. So I was.
And I had my
she
granddaughter.
had my daughter for almost 2 months.
3 months.
3. Then they finally let her out, and the only time I would see her was when she had an appointment or something.
That was the only time they were letting the kids off the reservation to go in for medical reasons. But it was hard. It was hard for me. She missed her mom, and the video chats didn't help.
We met in the mid-90s, and his mom and dad took me to introduce me to the Acoma Pueblo in 1996. So that was my first exposure to, I was from Seattle, Washington, and so I just been enamored with the Acoma Pueblo since then. And as we got older, we collected little pieces. So it's been
I see.
a lot of fun
Yes.
to
Yeah.
follow your family.
Yeah. Well, it's been, you know, I miss my daughter because she, like she said, she moved to Albuquerque. She's got an apartment there, but when she was at home with me, she and I traveled a lot. we went to Washington, we went to New York, and before that, it was Marilyn and I who traveled. We went to Wisconsin, we went to Arizona, we went all over the place. But it's, like I said, with the problems that her husband is having, she doesn't travel much anymore. And then it's just my daughter and I that will go here and there.
Now, how's Carolyn doing?
Oh, she's just as goofy as can be, but she's okay. Today is her, how many years was it?
I don't
she
know.
said? Today's her anniversary. I think it's 24 years or 20, I don't know, something, or 30 years or something like that. Today's her anniversary. And my 50th wedding anniversary was in October of this year. So, but she's doing okay. She still makes, she paints. Like I said, she's a lot faster than I am at painting. She's real quick. And she can whip out those pots in no time, but me, it takes, yes, it takes me a long time, yes. And then I still have to clean and cook or tend to my grandchildren or great-grandchildren. They want to be held, they want to go for a ride, they want to be on their bikes, they want to go for walks, or they want a story read. So we have to put down what we're doing and tend to the kids. But if I don't have any of them around, I can sit there and I could finish, like I lined that whole pot because the kids weren't there. But then this is day 2, then I'll be finishing in the design, the pattern and everything. And then maybe tomorrow, and I can only paint during the daytime. I cannot paint by just the lights. It has to be the natural lights that, the sun, even on a cloudy day like today, I probably won't be able to paint because the sun isn't as bright. It has to be, the sun has to be out for me to paint. So, but it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time.
Do y'all have a Facebook or any kind of website to follow?
No, not really, no.
She just learned how to text, so she don't know about the.
Yeah.
No.
So when y'all make your pattern, like that pattern, how do you start to know that when you finish, you're going to finish it evenly and have them?
Oh, believe me, it's not even,
not
my
even.
dear. Look at this. Like this one is small here, and then this is larger here. It's just, because, even people say, well, can't you use some? I said, yes, you can. I've tried. You can section it off. You can get a piece of paper, say, okay, it's even here. But when you bring it down, because of the shape of the pottery, it throws it off because it's like to one side. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect shape. So it does take, you have to learn how to adjust your lines so that the pattern looks about almost even. But, there's no way you can, even it out.
How many hours are you able to work at once before you?
I have to work maybe like a couple of hours, then I have to put it down because my eyes go cross-eyed and like I start connecting lines. Okay, it's time to take a break. And then I'll walk around and I can't sit very long, so I have to get up and move. But it takes time, and so maybe like this one would take me anywhere from 4 to 5 days to finish. And then this one took 2 days because I was home alone. The kids weren't there, so it took 2 days. And then it's also like in my shop, I really don't have proper heat in there, so it's kind of cold over there. So.
Rebecca,
Yes,
may I
both.
quickly introduce myself and then leave you alone? I'm Glenn Smurge. We talked probably in the fall of 2019 about me bringing a bunch of newcomers from Santa Fe for a day visit with you. And of course, because of the virus, it never happened. But I'll be back with you.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, you can come. We've had busloads of people come, and that's the thing that people get upset with me. They say, well, we don't want you to be teaching people. I said, I'm not teaching anybody. The only thing I'm teaching is the art of the work and to get them people to understand why I charge the amount of money that I do for my pots. I said, people think it's easy. People think they're slip cast. People think I use commercial clays and paints like the majority of the people. I don't. I said, it's a lot of work. I said, and I'm getting very slow at this because of my age. I'm not as fast and I can't paint, like I said, as long as I used to. I used to be able to get up in the morning, turn on the light like this and be able to paint. Now it's the sun I have to follow. As soon as the sun goes down, I have to put it aside. Otherwise, my eyes get really red, I get headaches, so I just can't do it anymore.
It's a very physical job.
Yeah, it is. It's time consuming.
Well, your plates are beautiful, your pieces are just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Stopped me in my tracks when I was walking.
Yes. Yes, I did all this, and then like I said, I have my commercial brush here. Then that's what I used to fill in.
I knew a woman whose daughter was balding because her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a bunch of bald babies. But you know, the baby hairs last longer than the
Brush hair.
the brush.
Of course they do.
Yeah. We tried Derek's hair, it didn't work.
My paint was all light when I did it. I had to basically reline.
Oh, I know. I have to reline mine too. That's why I always say not to put too much water in the paint. Mama trying to start aus.
You know, I was just thinking out too.
When you start doing a pot like this and you start the first line, how do you determine when you feel that day how the curve goes? Or when you start the first line, is it a predetermined idea that you have, or do you just let the pot curve
You know,
change it?
it's like there have been times when I had to erase all the design on the pot because of the shape or for some reason, I don't know. So I figure my grandma used to tell me the pots are like people. They have feelings and they know what they want. And she used to tell me, you'll see when you start making pottery. And it does. Sometimes you put the design on there. She's done it before. She goes, there isn't enough lines in here. When I got to filling it, then she's had to erase the whole design. You just sand it off and then let it dry and then start all over.
Yeah.
And then there are times when you do the pot, it just like the design does not fit. It just doesn't look right. And then it's okay, that design wasn't meant to be on that pot. Then you have to try something else. So it takes time to, you know.
Well, I'm glad you decide that.
Yeah, so
Or it decides that.
yeah, it makes it, they have the minds of their own.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, sorry.
Doesn't go through it. I need some of that white right there.
That's what I did just a while ago. There was something in there. See,
Yeah,
I had to redo it.
yeah, let me have some of that.
My ear itches. Okay.
Okay, let me erase this one here. Oh. Yeah.
You guys doing well?
Yes, we're doing
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there was one in mine too. That's why I had to pick it up.
Okay.
Okay. And then I used this one at the bottom because that was the flat one.
Okay.
Okay.
She can't help herself.
I don't know, somewhere. Right.
Which one did you use? This one?
Yeah, I used the flat part
Okay.
to like push it down. Yeah.
You have beautiful pottery, and I have a question about the rock.
Okay.
Where my mind works weird. Right? You said the rocks are handed down from
One generation to
one
the
generation? Now, the first person to get this rock, did they just go out and find the right shape? Or did it already have like a little indent, or did they make the indent? Or
You have to work on it.
okay, that's what I thought.
Some you can find that looks like that.
Right.
You can look around. Carolyn made her own rock.
Okay.
My grandmother has a real large one. It's real big and like
That's heavy.
it's real thick. It's about that
it's
thick,
thick,
and it's,
yeah.
Stays right
yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a matate. So anyway, that's what my grandmother gave me, and then she had another oval one, but she gave that to my sister Marilyn, and then Carolyn didn't have one. And so she found hers at the lake from where she lives, and she got it out, and then it had a little, look like it had like a little, like a river going through it, so it took time, maybe about 3 years for her to get it done.
Like chip it and
Yes,
stuff
chip
to get
at it,
right?
yes, and then she
Does
finally
it have
got
to be
that.
a certain kind of rock?
Yes, it can't be sandstone.
Right.
And so I don't even know. I don't know anything about rocks, but I don't know what kind of rock this is.
I
But
know, it's beautiful pottery, and I
So-
know much about a rock.
so that's what we use. Yeah, but that's what we use, and then we just put water in there, and then these are the paints. This is where the
Right,
paint
yeah.
comes from,
I
and then
heard
we
you
just
explain
rub
that
it on
part.
there. Yes, and then we just that's how we get our paint. And then this is just a small piece left here of that bee wheat plant right here.
Right.
That's what I add to my paint. That keeps it from rubbing,
Yeah, yeah.
and so that's what I use.
Do you worry about the impression getting deeper? I mean, does it wear away or no?
No, no, it doesn't.
I wouldn't think so, but it was a question.
Yeah, but
I still was curious about it.
probably still does, but we don't notice it.
So, I mean, just wondering, can you keep passing it down for hundreds of years?
Yes, like I said, that the thick one that my daughter and I use, I use that every day, but I can't use it to carry it around because it's so thick and heavy. That I don't know. It belonged to my grandmother's mother.
Oh,
So there's a lot of rocks out there that that have been handed down from one generation to the next. Oh, you're welcome. Well, when all this crazy COVID stuff goes away, you're all welcome to come to Acoma. But all our paints are natural and we all do this by hand, no wheel.
Yeah, actually done. A human, a real human.
I'm gonna have to reline this whole thing. I said I'm gonna have to reline this.
Oh, I know. I had to do that to one of the other pots. So I didn't have enough walk in there. Mom, and when I was paying, choke, I make it slightly.
Really?
I am make our star from me, my eskayas.
I know I hate when I do that. And it takes forever.
It's just because the cameras are
Right?
forming the pot. How long you have to let it dry, form up or harden.
The making is fun. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
You can make like I could probably make this size. I could make about maybe 12, shape them in one day, and then the next day I would scrape them. That's just making them, shaping them. The next day they're not really completely dry, but they're it's firm. The clay is firm enough that you can handle, and then we use we save a lot of our. We go either to the transfer station, or we have people that will give us their corned beef lids. It's sharp. That's what we use to scrape, or those skull lids. I find a lot of that in the parking lot at the casino, so I'll pick them up. That's what we use to scrape the clay off. And then usually you can tell, if a pot is slip cast or handmade, because it's not even thickness on the pot, and they're not all light. Because this one you can tell it's kind of heavy on the bottom, but you have to kind of keep it heavy at the bottom, because if not, they tip over real easy. And then, but with some of the pots, some people have made big pots and stuff, but they're light as a feather, and you cannot get a pot that large to have that kind of weight. So I've seen a lot of the pots that are, slip cast, but they say they're handmade. So, but there's a lot of, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, no, for sure. So a couple of days then from forming.
Yes, and then it takes about a week, I would say, to make them. But processing the clay is a long process. To get from here to there, you have to soak this first, and it takes all day to soak it. Then you dump the water out, and it takes about 2 or 3 days for it to completely dry. Then we break them down, crush them with a rock, and then we sift it. I have a screen that I sift it with. Then we soak the larger pieces that come out after they're sifted. Then we re-soak that clay, and then it takes another 2-3 days again. And then finally, you sift it, and then you have to get your pottery shards if you don't have any. So that's another day or two just to grind the shards and sift it. And then we just add it. I just add mine. Like some people used to take their clay out, put it on a rock, and then add their shards, and then knead the clay. But the way I do it is I just get a pan of clay, and then I just get a handful of pottery shards, mix it up, just like mixing dough. I just mix the clay all up, and then I add my rainwater, or I usually add rainwater or distilled water to my clay, and then you have to let the dough set, just like like a yeast bread. You have to let it rise. Well, for us, we just leave it like maybe a couple of days. Leave it, and then it's ready to start working with, and then we make our pots. So it's like I said, it takes time. Yes, it's a lot of work. So from scratch to the finished pot, I would say it takes about maybe 3 weeks. And like I say, it depends on the size of the pot. The larger pots would take probably maybe about 5 weeks, because you need to make it, and then the larger ones take long to make because you have to let it dry, and keep adding coils to it to make the size of pot that you want. That large pot right there has 3 coils on there. This one only has 1. These are just called pinch pots because you don't add a coil to it. And most of the pots that I make this size only have 1 coil on there. So, and that's how they're made. And then you have them dry, and they have to be completely dry. And then after you finish painting, you have to let them dry too, because they will crack in the firing if there's still any kind of moisture in them. So my grandmother used to, when she baked bread, she would put them on a tray and she would stick them in the oven to dry them. Or she would stick them in her, she had a wood stove. She would put a pan of pottery in the oven after she was through cooking to dry them. Yes, you don't waste heat. And then 2-3 days later, then we go outside and we fire them. I used to collect the cow manure with my grandfather. He would take us down to where the cattle are usually down in the valley, like they brought them back from the mountains now, and they're in the valley. So in the summertime, when they take them back up into the mountains, that's when we go around and collect the manure. We used to just flip them over with the rake and leave piles here and there. Then maybe the following week we go down and pick up the manure. Yes, that's how we used to do it. But like I said, most of my pots are kiln fired.
Hey, Rebecca, we have a question from the internet. Could you explain your brushes again, if you wouldn't mind? Is it a yucca brush? Is it a yucca tip? How do you make the brush itself? And
Okay,
what
the
do you
yucca.
use the specific yucca brush for?
The yucca brushes, the young yucca, the little yucca, the short ones that are just like maybe about 5 or 6 inches, growing out there by the, wherever we pick them, we just clip off the top, and it's like the young yucca, and then we just chew the top of the yucca. We chew off the top, and then we get make the just when we chew the top off, then we just use our fingers and get the fibers out, and then you can soak them in water, and then we usually tear them in half, split it in half, and then with the scissor clip off the tips on the edges of the yucca, and then you wet it again, and then with your fingers we like shape the brush, the yucca brush. And the yucca brushes, the time that I use the yucca brushes is when I do the large pots, and the paint just goes on easier. It carries more paint than just a regular brush. And then you can dry them, but it's best when they're kind of green. It's easier to work with and they don't break. But a yucca brush can last maybe up to a week, or it can last for maybe 2 or 3 large pots, depending on the size of the pot. But that's all we used to paint with, was the yucca brush. But now I do use a commercial brush, a number 2 brush. Looks big, but most of the time, you can use it, and it takes time and practice to use a commercial brush. My daughter does that with, she uses that, and you have to learn to use the very tip of the brush. This brush that I have here, I have 2 brushes. These are made from baby hair. And this one was put together with masking tape. And this one has duct tape. I just lay the hair on there, and it's kind of hard to make because you have to use a tweezer and lay them out. And just lay them out little at a time, and then I usually put it together, wet them, and then shape it to see how big the brush is. And the brushes that are made from baby hair last longer than the commercial brushes. But that's the way the brushes are made. But we used to, like I said, we used to use all of our paintings used to all be done using yucca. And the larger yucca plants, my grandmother used to use that to, instead of these commercial brushes that we use for our white slip and the colors, she used to use the larger yucca brushes, make them, and that's what she used to fill in and do the colors. And she used to use a rag, a cotton cloth, she would roll up, and that's how she used to put the white slip on the pottery and the orange on the bottom of the pots. Está ahí? Ham.
My eyes are hurting.
Well, you probably need painting glasses.
Because the light is... I don't have my UFO light.
Aye.
My spaceship light.
You know what? Who was it that gave Uncle Bernard? Remember those lights that put you on your head?
Oh, yeah.
That thing is so bright. I said, I should try buying me one like that. Maybe it'll help me paint.
They all sweaty.
Your pot all melts.
Your pot will fire.
Yeah. No peace.
Oh, gosh.
I have a question. How do you, like your lines, you start at the top and go down to the bottom? How do you get those to where when you start going around the pot, and then when you finish, they're all symmetrical?
No, they're not.
Magic.
No, you just have to.
You don't put a pattern on that and then trace it, right?
No, but we do use here's a pencil here. That's it's soft. You can see the lines here. You just do the lines like at the bottom. Okay, and then you go across here, and then it kind of gives you a rough idea. You can do it this way, it's probably easier, but me, I just do it here and there, like on the sides, so that I see that, okay, I'll do it here and there, and then that's where I start, and I'll do the same up here. Up here, I'll mark it. Yeah, I'll mark it, and then you can go from there. A long time ago, they used charcoal. Yes, they used charcoal to even out their patterns. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys are pretty darn good at that.
Yeah, by this evening, by the time we leave, we're going to be ready for firing, Derek.
Oh, my God.
And the price will go up for having you watch me paint. Yeah, for all the mistakes. Because now you're going to see how much all the mistakes I make on it.
My goodness. Oh, man. Dang it.
It was funny. We were, my brother was,
Do you want me to mute it?
huh?
Do you want me to mute it?
Yeah.
Wait, time out.
Hey.
Oh, gosh.
I'm trying. I'll take all credit.
I'll take all credit.
Take the credit.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for letting us watch the process. Your work is gorgeous.
Oh, you're welcome.
Welcome. Oh, man. Connected.
The question is what happens if a paintbrush slips, or how do you fix errors, or what do you do?
You can scrape the mistakes with this. And a long time ago, they used the sharp pointed part of the yucca plants to scrape the mistakes. But there's like right here, you can scrape it. And then if it's on the painted part, you still can do the same. And then you just get your brush and then you can just reapply it, apply that, and just fix the mistake and go on.
Awesome. How many mistakes would you say you make in a pot?
2,000.
2001, just now. Oh, my gosh.
We make plenty. And it takes, before we can even fire you to go through and to erase all your mistakes, it takes about 2 to 3 hours.
Do you ever purposely put in a mistake?
Yes, you can. You can leave maybe one square.
Open?
Oh, yes, not fill it in, or complete a line at the bottom, or not add another line. Sometimes we do that just on purpose.
Okay. just need to reline it.
Okay.
Oh.
We'll go to the next one.
Oh, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done for the day.
I'm done for the day.
You're welcome to take breaks too. So at this point, when you're lining these, Amanda, do you have an idea of what you're going to be doing already at this point?
No. I'm just going with it. However it comes out, we'll see what happens here. Kind of, sort of, but again, like she said, like my mom said, sometimes it doesn't always come out the way you want it to, so see what happens.
So what you're doing here, just so that I can describe it for people, is you're kind of looking at the top to try to divide evenly.
Yeah, I'm trying to at least section it off a little bit to.
Have some guidelines.
Yeah, pretty much. And just kind of see what I can do. And looks about right.
Looks
We'll
even
see.
to
It looks
me.
even to me.
I still have that brush that we tried to make from Derek's hair.
Just chopped the patch of his hair.
Still have that brush. It won't hold the paint. I don't know why.
I guess I don't condition it.
Your hair's
It's
not
the right
soft enough.
conditioner. Oh, God.
The paint said it's Americana hair. Oh, that was funny.
I know, that was.
Hey, it was worth a shot.
That demo was nice and fun, the one we did at your mom's place.
Yeah.
That was
We
cool.
had fun, yeah.
I enjoyed seeing a real firing. And at some point, I would like to set up the cameras and do a real firing.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Uh-huh.
Because that's something that should be preserved.
Yeah. It needs to be, but, you know, that's really what takes time, too. If you're going to fire outdoors, you really have to make sure that your pottery, the clay is packed real good. And not only that, but they're completely dry because it's a fast fire. It's not a slow fire, whereas an electric kiln, you just keep raising the temperature, it goes up. But with an outdoor firing, it just like, there's no control over the fire, so you get a lot of breakage. Sounds like popcorn sometimes. They pop left and right.
I remember hearing that popping sound.
And you're like, oh, I hope it's
it
not
wasn't mine.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my God, I hope it wasn't the one that I worked so hard on.
It usually is, though.
Yep, it usually is.
Oh, I wonder. I don't think I'll get a straight line off of that. Let's see.
So did you ladies coil these?
The larger pots are coiled. These smaller ones are not coiled.
Are they're thrown on a wheel?
No,
No.
they're not. They're just all hand shaped.
Oh, they're hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should have brought our tools.
They should have said I had some in my purse. Well, I didn't think of it. I woke up.
So are you painting with slip or?
This is the paint that we make from, this is the rock that we mix our paint on.
The
This
paint
is
come
where
from
the
those
paint from
rocks.
rocks.
Okay. And what is the white?
The white is like a, the white slip
I've been making
is,
ceramics for like 5 years, so.
it's like, it comes out hard. It's like, almost like sandstone, but it's thicker. It's a lot more clay-like, but you still have to crush it and, sift it, strain it through a cloth.
I'm just saying my pinch pots don't look this pretty.
It takes a long time to get them.
So I've been taking classes for, I don't know, years, right? 5, 6, 7 years.
I tried to use this, but it's
Well, I've been making pottery since I was 9, 8 or 9.
Point being, it takes a long time.
It takes a very long time.
So, hey Amanda, what are you doing over there?
I'm just making lines. No, I'm like just kind of putting like almost like a little graph paper on here for me so I can figure out what I'm gonna do. It's easier for me that way. I can't, like her, she can just put 4 lines on the top and go. I can't do that. I have to have like a little graph for me here or I'll get all confused and don't work out for me. So I have to put some kind of a guideline on here, a little area for me to work with.
So even with guidelines, do you get lost sometimes?
Yes, because
Yeah.
sometimes the shape of the pot is like, well, it's never the same. So even if I know what design I want to put on there, when I start getting and doing it, just because of the shape of the pot, it'll be off at the bottom or the top. Yeah, so that's when I'm like,
I'm very good at the imperfect.
yeah, so it takes a while. Let's see here.
Do you listen to music when you do pots, or is it usually quiet?
I do. I have to listen to music.
I have to have some kind of music. I have a TV on, and just that noise keeps me going.
I can't
Sometimes,
watch TV. If I have a TV on, I'm like sitting there doing this, just watching the TV, and I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta paint one square, then I'm watching it again. So for me, it's music. I put my AirPods on, and I'm good. I can listen to music and paint.
And so, what is your favorite thing to paint to?
Mozart. You'll be asleep. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Don't mind me.
I'll basically listen to anything, any type of music. Yeah.
What's your favorite is what I'm wondering. For pottery, for line work.
I listen to a lot of like country, oldies country music. That's what I listen to. It's just calming for me.
Well, it's whatever you have to be able to do to keep doing this sort of hard, mentally intense work.
If I want to listen to some kind of music, it's usually Indian music, like the corn dance songs or something that my brothers and them record. So those are what I listen to. But I don't know how to do that on my phone. I don't know anything about phones, so. I barely learned how to email, and I didn't know what the heck that was. And to text, my grandson was so happy when I text him. I would text and I put my phone down. Sent her a text before I even can put my phone completely down. She already answers. I said, oh my God, and it took me 5 minutes to send a text. So I'm very slow. And my other daughter, she has all these other things. Me, I have to spell out the whole word. They have all these other things. I don't know what the heck they're trying to tell me. Don't even know what LOL means. I barely learned what it was. I said, what's LOL? They just laugh at me.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. But my daughter, she knows how to use it. She'll hang up on people. I'm like, give me my phone.
I have a 4-year-old who knows how to operate my phone a lot better than I can. No, Grandma, this is the button you push.
So is this being transferred down to generations? Or the next generation, obviously, she's your daughter.
Yes.
Is your daughter, or
Yes, my granddaughter likes to paint. Yeah, she likes to paint.
Of course she does. She draws on my walls. I was so mad at her. She drew on my, I have white doors. She drew on my bedroom door. I was like, oh, this kid.
is she your only one?
Yes, I only have one. She's, like I said, she's 4. She'll be 5 in February.
My first child never drew on anything. And my friends whose kids drew on stuff, I think to myself, you should watch them better. My daughter.
You're like, nope. Yeah.
So do you all have a kiln where you work from?
I bet they
She does have her her studio at the Pueblo where she lives, where she lives at. But I live in the city, so yeah. I usually just go home for a few days and I'll fire or I'll send them out. Like my daughter goes to school in Laguna, so she stays with my mom during the week. So sometimes I'll go out and meet them at the school and give her the pottery so she can fire for me.
So how long does it take you to paint one of those big pots with all those lines?
This one will probably take me about another couple days.
Also, you have to remember that digging and cleaning the clay is a massive process. Finding all your materials is a massive process. The different drying stages, so before you even get to this point, there's probably been 10 days worth of work.
I found that out the hard way when my grandmother finally let me use her clay. Before that, the only way I made pottery was when I was younger. I started making like about maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I should have brought the pots that I made. Remember I showed you those pots?
Oh,
Yeah. But my whole name is on the bottom of the pot. Rebecca Jane Lewis. But when she said I could work with her with the real clay, she said, you can now work with the real clay. I said, I was so happy. I thought she was going to give me some of her clay. No, she made me go dig my own clay. And I had to go find my own paints. But to me, I thought that was really mean and cruel. But I'll always cherish that because I knew where to get it. I knew how to, how hard it was, and I knew where she got it, and I understood why she didn't let me use her clay, and to do that. And so now I know where to get everything myself.
Yeah, I haven't made it to the stage yet where I go dig my own clay, and I'm not there yet.
Takes a long time.
It takes a long time. So how long does it take for you to coil a pot that size?
About a couple of days.
And it looks like you use really thin coils.
Yes, it depends on the size of pot that you're gonna make. The larger the pot, the thicker, yes, uh-huh.
So these are all such beautiful decorative pieces, but do you ever make things that you use for your home, like cooking or eating or?
Well, a lot of our pots are still used, but the main thing that they're really used for is like, our bean pots are still being used to, make parched corn. And then our other pots are used for ceremonial purposes, and then we put water in, the larger vessels, to it keeps the water cool in the, summertime.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Kaimetsa musta te au etistius ni iwastimtsuma.
I know.
Emerestimtsi utsuts at anisi. Etsi yamaston at.
I text. So she's okay.
Oh, that's good.
I think they're gonna shut down. Because I don't think there's gonna be enough teachers. Did you see HRC change mandates on who can be a sub? Because of this.
So what's your favorite part about making a pot? Is it the making? Is it the cleaning of the clay? Is it going out for the materials? Is it the painting? Is it the firing?
The making.
The making.
The coiling?
Yes, because you can shape it any way you want, and sometimes even the pot will form its own shape. And they're not always the same size, and they always have a different shape.
I agree.
So that's the fun part of it. And designing is fun, but I prefer making and have
That's
somebody else
frustrating.
paint.
Designing is frustrating.
Yeah, designing gets to be very frustrating sometimes. And you have to be in the mood to paint. And I usually tell my daughter, if you're not feeling well, I said, or if you're angry or frustrated or worried about something, don't you ever put your hand on the pot. You have to be happy. You have to have good thoughts.
And so what, are you using like world's tiniest brush? Or like, it doesn't even look like it has a stick or anything?
It's
Your mom's is like this long.
It's the Pure Sable.
Uh-huh.
It's a number 2 brush.
Okay.
And I'm just using the very tip of the brush.
It takes time to learn that because that's what people say, you paint with that, it's so big. Yeah, I use, to me it's easier because you can use it to fill in, it carries a lot of paint.
But the other one you were using is tight, like it's just a nub.
That's a hammer brush. That's
That's a what?
It's made with duct tape and baby hair.
Are you serious?
Yeah. This one is put together with masking tape.
Oh, cool.
And our tools are made from, I have tools that my grandfather made for my grandmother. They're made with redwood and gourds, a lot of gourds. And then I have a coconut that my grandfather just chopped up, cut up with a saw, and he sat there for hours outside shaping them, and that's what he made the tools from for my grandmother. He loved eating coconuts, so that's what he made the tools from.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ladies. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try and make one when I get back to class.
Okay.
There you go. Let's see here.
Let me see if it'll come out even. Let me check. Check with your pencil, see it come out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
And then
Ow, my finger hurts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then line. Hey, it'll come out, okay?
I don't want to do that one.
Come on. Come out even for you?
Yeah, I just need to add in more line.
Yeah, to get them even.
They're kind of big though. Maybe like that. I guess I'll go
It's
smaller.
kind of big. Ayan, mama, true gosh, show you.
Another comment from the internet is that somebody who, they love your comment about Mozart, number 1.
That was good.
I forgot that was. I love Mozart, though.
Oh, I do too. And then the other comment is that also that when they are mad, the pots don't come out either. They can't paint, they can't make them, they can't do anything. So it's mood related.
Yes. Just like cooking, that's what they tell us, and I tell my daughters the same thing. My grandmother used to tell us to cook when we're in a good mood, happy, instead of slamming your pots and pans around when you're gonna prepare food for your family. And the same thing goes with the pot. You have to be in a good mood and be happy and wanting to paint it.
So is that why you have so many pots? Is because you're always in a good mood and laughing?
Oh, wow.
We can't paint when we're always laughing. Especially when we all get together, my sisters
my
and I.
goodness. We'll never get anything done if we were all together.
Amanda,
Yeah.
we had a request online for the purchase of that pot that you're working on.
Which one?
So
That one?
That one, yeah. So if
Okay.
you could make sure you get it to us,
Okay.
that would be just great.
Alrighty.
That's 10,000.
Since it was done live.
Oh, God.
Guys are
Yeah,
funny.
we always laugh, try to laugh and be happy.
Let's see here. I think, yeah, that'll, because it looked too big to me.
You're always saying they're too big.
It does look too big. Let's see.
Gini siya ni Kuya Ro.
I think that'll be big enough for that. Because, see, I had them, I didn't throw in these other lines.
You like to do that. Just leave it.
No, it looked too big.
No,
It still does. I should put in one more line right here, huh?
no.
Okay, then.
Then you're gonna say, it's taking forever.
Because it does. It looks, I don't know. Okay. I might just be quiet and paint.
Okay.
Turn on the Mozart.
Shut up.
Oh, gosh. Okay, let's see. Let's go.
Am I hearing things? I think I hear some kind of music. Like Kaiwa.
It's Mozart.
Aye. It's Mozart
Turn
from
on the
next door.
Mozart.
I forgot it's, you can hear what I'm saying.
Whoa, almost dropped my brush.
Mm.
And a lot of laughter.
It's Judy. Judy's always making us laugh.
Oh my gosh, that lady.
Well, and Carolyn.
Yeah. Those two are no good.
What awful.
It would be fine. Is it okay if you always have to ask me? Yeah. So just ask these guys if you can take their picture, and then that's fine.
I figured there was many steps between the ladies and filming because chapter kind of started.
Yep. Well, you can actually see what we're doing here on YouTube, so you can actually watch the whole thing anytime you want. But is it okay if this lady takes your picture?
She wants to take a picture.
I don't have my eyelashes
my
on.
makeup on. I'm gonna just use my paint.
Ah, shucks.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Film a couple seconds. Okay, I'm not that popular. Nobody.
Oh gosh. Somehow my paint got light.
Test your torch.
Okay. Hey, pull my hair.
Far more than I do.
Oh, you're welcome. Ay, mine is coming out like that too light.
See that?
Stu, you have to stir it up.
I did. It's time for a break. I need a snack.
Ay. Yeah, I need a snack.
I need a snack.
I'm
Just
feeling dizzy.
Oh, I forgot. I might get this.
Shh, be quiet.
Okay. I'm not hungry. I'm just kidding.
Kid, look at
Big old chunk.
big old chunk of clay. I mean paint.
Oh, mine's just coming out like that. Here. Yeah, it's not working. Come on, man.
Good.
I wonder if that guy made it from Mexico.
Which guy?
Remember, he's supposed to do those pottery.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I think he does the etching on those pots.
I've been wanting to see him do that.
I know, me too.
Were you guys talking about the demo that we just did?
Was that the one? Yeah.
The one that, with the Day of the Dead guy? Yeah, you can watch that guy on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Did he make it?
Yeah, he made it.
Oh, cool.
He made it. It was a harrowing process getting across the border.
I bet. Oh my gosh.
Cool. I
But
don't
it
know. I
was
wanted
really
to see
cool to
that.
see him work.
Oh, I
bet.
bet. It would have been nice. It's one thing to watch it on there, but another thing in real person in life to watch them do it. I think it's always neat.
Well, it's kind of like you guys. It's extremely fine work. So
Yeah.
actually the close-up of the cameras actually really helps.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can really see what's going on.
That's neat. What kind of tools did he use? Well, I guess I can watch it.
His tool was either a needle or a bicycle spoke
Wow.
that he had taped to a stick, and then he had a grinder to continually sharpen it as he went. And the black slip that he uses for his pieces is a manganese, which is a commercially available product.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts like 4 or 5 or 6 layers on it, and then he etches it away extremely slowly and carefully.
Yeah. Probably the way those guys do the etching on their pottery, like Gwen.
That'd be cool. Let's see.
So it was really cool to see. And
Right on.
he's such a nice gentleman.
It would have been nice to
With
meet
the
him.
language barrier, and he did a fantastic job.
Nice.
That's cool. Oh. Oh, my back.
Whoa.
Nice catch.
Good catch. You're quick.
I just caught him out. Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
Did you get a lot of snow yet?
No.
We got some Wednesday morning.
It's supposed to snow tonight.
Ooh,
Maybe up to 6 inches, maybe.
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 No,
You know how the weather forecasters are.
tend to
Yeah.
exaggerate.
Crazy weather.
Would you hear what was going on in California, how they got buried?
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I heard that.
And there's some places in Colorado that are over 10 feet for the week.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I heard about that too. It's crazy.
Ew, dust. I can feel the draft.
I know. I can feel it on my leg.
Me too. It's cold outside.
Does the temperature outside affect your painting or your pots or?
No, just our legs.
My legs are going numb.
I'm getting some numbness in my leg.
Well, do you at home? Do you work like by a wood stove or do you work
Yes.
like some people work by a heater?
Mm-hmm. I have a propane heater that I sit by. Yeah, just to work with that. Or wrap our legs with a blanket.
So when you paint these guys, do you kind of go in a pattern, or do you kind of work on one side and then work on the other, or do you start from left to right, or?
I start wherever I started from here, and I'm going from right to left right now. And sometimes if you're trying to find a different pattern or a design, then you kind of count it off and see, like this one here. I did it because these are going to be lined. So it's every 7 and then the lines. Like this one here, I'll show you. These are going to have lines right here. Same with these.
So how many pots do you generally work on at the same time?
I only work on one at a time unless I'm making. Then I'll, if I start shaping some pots, then, because they have to kind of dry a little before you start shaping them. So you can start and then leave them for a while, and then if I have some pots that are already ready to paint, then I'll go to my painting or mixing of my paint. But there's always something you can do, or you have to mix more black paint, then it gives me time to do that. But I usually work on painting one pot at a time. So it's going to be like this. So it's going to be every like I do this little squares, 7 of them. So on the 8th one, it'll have this pattern here with the lines. So right here, we're going to start this pattern right here. And then I'll start this pattern so that it, there's going to be four of those on the pot.
So Rebecca, this gentleman has a question for you, and go for it.
I just wanted to know, like, in the middle of that, if you paint something that's not supposed to be there, what happens then?
or just break it. I'm just kidding.
It's perfection or nothing.
Yeah. No, I use this, and then a long time ago, my grandmother used the sharp points of the yucca plant, and she would use that pointed part to erase the mistake, like right here, if I wanted this line to just to smooth it out, or like down here, I had made a mistake, and then you can erase it, and then just apply a little of the white slip, and then just polish it over, and then just continue.
Beautiful, thank you.
How much a kai?
I don't know.
Tu iya mas tu ayah.
12.
12? Already?
And my mom's coming out to do a little question and answer session.
Oh my goodness. Doesn't even seem like we've been here that
I
long.
know, serious.
Mom, it's all hot when.
It was barely 10 o'clock.
Darn, and I was gonna finish this year, right?
Serious.
In my normal voice. Ready? Wake up, you two. It's high noon, and we're live on YouTube right now. It's Andrea Fisher Fine Pottery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The sky is gray. We're expecting snow tonight. Praise the Lord. Finally, some water. And today we have the honor and the pleasure of watching Rebecca Lucario and her daughter Amanda Lucario painting their incredible Acoma pieces of pottery. So what are you doing over there, lady? Yeah, you. Yeah, you.
Trying to paint. Trying to paint. Oh, we're painting our pots. Pottery that we made about, well, these were made, this pot that I'm painting was made before Christmas. So I'm just now painting the pot. Takes a long time.
So did you buy those acrylics at the craft store?
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
No, I wish it wouldn't take so long, but all our paints are natural. These are the paints, these are the rocks where the paint comes from, and then I have a small bee wheat plant here in the corner that I mix to my paint. And we have our white slip, and we have the two colors that majority of the time we use, this that turns like a reddish color, and then the orange paint.
But, you know, I look at your pots here, Rebecca, and they're all black and white, and what I see in front of me is gray and red. What happens?
They change color when you fire them. Firing is the last step. All the painting and all the work is completed on the pot, and the last step is the firing. So sometimes you'll get breakage during the firing, even if they're kiln fired, so there goes all your hard work.
And what about the red? What color does that come out?
Which red?
Oh, the red is red?
This the black one, or the well, this one it's yellow like this before the firing, and then after you fire it comes up a dark color, almost like red, a rust color, and this one turns an orange color. It's not the same color. All the paints usually change color after they're fired.
And where did you get these paints? Where did you get them?
Santa Claus.
Santa brought them.
Santa brought them.
Santa brought them, huh?
This one actually comes from, we came across some clay, and that clay, when we made the pots from that clay, they will come out really pink. I should have brought, and some of that clay was, this one has a little bit on there, a little bit of orange, but the clay that we got had a lot of this yellow on the clay, between the slabs of clay, and it was real chalky. I rubbed it with my thumb, and it was real soft. So I said, I wonder if what color this would fire. So I got my little knife and I started scraping the yellow chalky stuff off the clay. And then when I got about a cup full, then I went and I soaked it in rainwater. Then I strained it and I put it in this bowl. And when I fired it, it comes out almost this color here.
Huh. Now you said you use rainwater.
Yes.
What would happen if you use tap water?
The colors aren't as bright.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's soft water, so that's what I've always used, is rainwater for my colors. Carolyn says she uses it in her black paint as well, but I've never tried it. It's
Carolyn,
always just been
your sister?
My sister, yes.
Yeah.
But I've always used distilled water, or I don't use the tap water from the house because it's got a lot of alkali in it. But that's what we use. And if there's no rainwater, then that's when we do the distilled water.
Yeah, you must have used a lot of distilled water this summer. Well, I mean, no rain.
Yes,
Very dry summer.
Yes, and you can tell with Amanda, her lines are a lot finer. I used to be able to paint like that because she uses the very tip of that brush. I can't do it anymore, not like that. My lines are a lot bigger now because of my eyes, but I still try to paint as much as I can, but I use this commercial brush to fill in my colors.
You've gone commercial?
I've gone commercial. I just use this one to fill in the colors. It carries more paint.
I promise I won't tell anyone you've gone commercial.
Okay.
Well, if Santa Claus brought those paints. You must have been a naughty girl. You didn't get very much.
No, I guess not. Yeah, but that's how the colors come, where they come from. So we're always on the lookout when we're walking, or we sometimes get people that will tell us, have you tried this paint? I've found this paint here and there or wherever. If they name a specific place, then I'll go out and get some paint and try it. Some come out really nice. Some just burn off. There is no color. So it has to be almost like clay for the paint.
So like the bowl that you showed me that had the ground up yellow paint in it, is that a test bowl that you use to figure out what colors are, what minerals fire out what colors?
Yes, and there are some like there's very little of the green, but I have no idea where that green came from. There is some green on some of the old shards that we find locally at Acoma, and it has green, but I have no idea where the people, our parents or grandparents found that. But you can see some of that in the old pieces. But when where we got our green, my sisters and I divided that green, was in a big, almost like a big pickle jar. It was a glass jar that my grandfather had. And after he passed, we were going through his things, and we found all kinds of dried herbs, I guess, other things that he used to dry and store. But we came across this big jar of, it was like dirt, and it had some, a little bit of gravel in there. So we didn't know if it would fire, so we tried a small amount, and it did fire green. It used to be a darker green, but now, like I said, it's we don't know where it's from, so we've added a lot of the white slip to it, so it's getting lighter and lighter. But I don't know where it came from. And then we did also find some, it was purple, but there's no color. It just burns right off.
Oh, my favorite color. I'm so sorry. If any of you that are watching out there and want to ask any questions of either Amanda or Rebecca, you can either email them to us at info@AndreaFisherPottery.com or by telephoning us at 505-986-1234. We're here with Rebecca and Amanda Lucario, mother and daughter from Acoma, Pueblo, and it's really fun to watch them paint all our pots. I was thinking, Rebecca, when did we meet?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. Back in the 70s?
I think we met when the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yes.
Yeah, right there.
The last dinosaur died.
Well, I think it was when I was up at the Wheelwright Museum.
Yes.
Yeah, that which was, oh my goodness, that was in the 80s, in the mid 80s.
Yes.
How long have you been making pots?
Oh, since I was about maybe 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
And the times that I remember was when I was 8. That's what I remember. But
well, you were probably a master by the time you were 8. Do you still have any of those pieces?
Yes, I do. And it says Rebecca Jane Lewis on the bottom of my pots.
Rebecca Jane. Oh, let the truth be told. Huh? Oh, those Lewis girls, they're something else. Can't have them together, boy, because there's so much laughter you can't think.
Nope. It's Judy and Carolyn.
Yeah. Well, Rebecca is blaming 2 of her sisters, but Judy Lewis and Carolyn Concho and Marilyn Ray and Diane Lewis and Rebecca make up that gang of 5 from Acoma, Pueblo. Now, there's another Lewis gang that Lucy Lewis is part of. Are you related to them at all?
No, we are not.
No?
They come from the Roadrunner clan. We come from the Yellow Corn clan. We
Ah.
just have the same Lewis last name.
So there was some white guy in there that gave you that
I
last
guess
name
so.
Lewis somewhere along the line.
I guess so. But they're a different, well-known family.
Well, but you know, what's your Indian name?
Zima'aita.
Well, can you say that again?
Zima'aita.
And what does that mean?
I have no idea. I don't. There was a gentleman that I asked, 'cause some of us, we don't know what our Indian names mean.
Yeah.
And he told me, I don't even remember, something about early morning something, I don't know.
Not thunder in the mountains.
No. Yeah, probably sleepyheads. I don't know. I don't know what it really
one of
means.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of those.
but that's my Indian name.
Does Amanda have an Indian name?
Yes, she has my mother's Indian name. Zaitza is her Indian name.
Would you say that again?
Zaitza, that was my mother's Indian name.
And does it mean anything?
It probably does, but like I said, some
But
of us
it's all-
don't know
it's
what
all
our
lost.
Indian names because they're old names, you know.
Yeah.
They just give them to us. And I know a lot of Zimaites, us at Acoma, and men that have that name as well, but it's not Zimaites, it's just Zimai. So I have no idea really what it means.
Why did that happen? Or do you know? I
guess because we didn't bother to ask what our names meant a long time ago, that it was like you didn't always ask questions. It's always like there were times when we were told that we're not to be asking too many questions. I don't know what the reason was, so we just accepted what we were told.
Well, that says someone didn't have to answer them. That's probably
They probably didn't know either.
This is a way of saying don't ask. right, don't ask because I don't know.
Yeah.
So, were the holidays nice for you? Is Christmas good?
It was good. It's been sad because we can't really gather with our family. This year we were allowed to. My kids, my grandkids all live in Albuquerque, so I only have one granddaughter living with me with her son. And it was nice to have the whole family come in. Amanda was home, my grandkids, my other children. For once, we were all together at home, but it wasn't like, I don't know, I guess we all still had that fearful thought in our heads. So as soon as we ate, gathered, and they just left.
Yeah.
And then just called and said it was, it was good to be home. Hopefully we can stay longer next year. So it's been difficult, but it was nice to have them home. Last year we spent Christmas alone.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking. It was sad. We had no family around, just with doing video chats and stuff. But like I said, this year for me, it was special because we were able to eat with our family, with our children.
And so when did you have this little feast? Was it Christmas Eve, Christmas Day?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day?
Christmas Day.
Were there any dances?
No. No, but the church was open. The field chiefs opened the church, so a few groups, like my brother and our family, went out. The grandkids danced corn dance at the church. They went over twice, but of course it's just the field chiefs' families that were there. There was less than 15 people inside the church.
Yeah.
And that was it, but it still, nobody can really go up.
So we have a wonderful greeting on the internet from Brazil.
Oh my
So-
goodness. Brazil, here we come.
Well, international. Oh my goodness, you are known around the
Oh
world.
my goodness.
You'd be famous, darling. So, do you know any Portuguese so you can say hello to these people?
No,
No. Oh, I don't either. I'm
I
sorry.
don't either. Kuadzi, that's all I know.
What, say it
That's
again.
saying Kuadzi, saying hello.
Hello. Any more questions?
That was it.
That was it. Oh, isn't that wonderful? We have someone from Brazil watching.
Nice. That's the fun part. That's what I miss about indie market is we missed a lot of our friends, making friends, meeting people, making new friends. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Not to be able to talk to anyone, not to. I mean, we're all walking around like robbers with masks on our faces, and that's hard. But it's like I guess I don't know. Maybe my hair's too white or something. Everybody always calls me by my name, and I don't even know who they are. But it's hard. It's hard to greet people. They go, "Who was that?" I have no idea.
Well, that happens in here. People say, well, don't you remember me? I was here 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't remember my children's names sometimes, much less someone who was here for 15 minutes 7 years ago.
Right. But
Well-
it's always fun to make new friends, to meet new people, and to just to explain how our pots are made, painted, and just to try to get people to understand and realize that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes time and patience and
Oh, and
just like I mentioned, it's just
back-breaking labor.
yes. I think the start and the finish are the hardest part, to going after the clay and then just keeping your fingers crossed that the pots won't pop or crack in the firing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because it's all done before the firing. The
Yes.
firing is the very last thing.
Yes.
And Mother Nature sometimes is such a bad girl.
yeah,
She doesn't cooperate at all.
Nope.
But, for those people tuning in and want to see the entire process, you can go to our channel on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search for Andrea Fisher Fine Pottery, and there is a very, very long interview with Rebecca and Amanda, and the full process is there. And it should inform you about how the details of how they dig the clay and how they clean the clay and how they coil the clay and how they paint the clay and how they fire the clay. And I think that you will enjoy that. But today's just a little short interview over the holidays. So what's your outlook for next year, Missy?
I'm just hoping that we'll be able to go back to meeting people, talking with people, doing more shows, and just making more pots. Because even during the crazy pandemic, we had to kind of put a hold on our pots. A lot of people stopped making, stopped handling their clay. So it's, a lot of people still have what was passed down from our elders is to have respect for Mother Earth. And so a lot of people said, well, I don't want my clay to, a lot of potters that I spoke to said, well, I haven't touched my clay because of the pandemic. So that's just the way we were taught and brought up. And things were always explained to us to respect and we have to have that for Mother Earth. We ask for the clay, We don't just go out there and, you know, start digging. And, but there's a lot of things that we try to pass on to our children, to have that respect and to keep the area clean where we dig our clay and to get our paints.
So we have a question for the internet for Rebecca, and the question is how big is the piece that you're working on right now?
I don't know.
That
I don't have a
big, right?
ruler.
That big. That's
big.
probably what, 5 inches tall
Yes,
and maybe
about maybe
six,
6, yes.
6 in diameter.
Yes.
And the one that's really amazing is Amanda's, because she was working on that piece and it looked like it was the size of a basketball on the screen. But the one that she finished earlier is maybe 2.5 inches tall and about 2.5 inches wide.
Right.
And the one she's
And then
painting
there's
right
this one
now
here
is
too.
just a little bit bigger.
Yes, yeah.
Just a little bit bigger than that.
A little taller.
And since they're not poured in a mold, you never get the same size or shape. It's always difficult to try to get them exactly the same size or exactly the same shape. So it's always off somewhere. It's either too large, or in size, shape.
Now, how many hours do you think you've spent on the pot you're working on so
About-
far?
Since we got here, about 2 hours, but
Yeah.
it took all day just to section the whole pot yesterday.
And how
So-
long did it take you to make the pot?
Took about 3 days.
3 days. And how long did it take you to dig the clay to make the pot?
Takes all day to dig the clay, and then to process the clay takes about maybe 2 weeks, because you have to soak the clay, dry it, takes about 2-3 days to dry, and then to grind it and sift it and re-soak the clay again. It just takes time to finally get to the part where you can mix the clay and make.
Now, one of your specialties for both of you is making plates. And I couldn't name 3 other people at Acoma, Pueblo, except those crazy sisters of yours that make plates. Are they that difficult? Are they more difficult? Or tell me
I say
more.
they're difficult because you can get a perfectly round plate, a lid, or something round. You can cut it out, but because the clay shrinks, it always loses its shape. It doesn't stay that same shape.
So it warps?
Yes, it'll warp. And then sometimes in the firing, it'll warp even more. If you just have to make sure that it sits evenly so you don't get them to warp, but they still do.
So when you put it down on a table, it goes wobble, wobble, wobble?
Yes, it does.
And so the people who make plates are few and far in between. And is that the reason why?
I have no idea. All I know is that there's a lot more to doing the plates. Well, even with the jars, they will shrink, and it's kind of hard to put on a design like on the pots because of the shape of the pots. They're not all even, and it's kind of hard to get the design to come out even.
And also they
So-
go in and out. So
Yes.
something like you're doing there has to stretch like a pair of old fishnet stockings
Yep, it
over
does.
the surface.
So you can do even if if I sectioned it off at the top and at the bottom like this, when you bring the line up, it's always it'll be off. So you kind of have to work with that, the shape and the line, to adjust the line so that you try to get them to come out even.
Is that X-Acto knife your eraser?
No, it's a little,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's point it.
And so is that taking off the paint?
Yes, just to erase the, if you make a mistake or if you feel like you need to erase something where you feel like it's too thick, the line is too thick or something, you can use that.
Now, how much
To-
will that pot shrink? I mean, will it come out the size of Amanda's?
No,
No.
yeah, but it'll still, I don't think it really shrinks in the firing that much, but it's from when you make them and then they dry, that's when they shrink.
And that's when they crack.
Yes.
And if a pot cracks in that condition, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, if it's not painted yet and it does crack after they dry, there's really not much you can do. I've tried. There's a mender, a commercial mender. It doesn't work. And there's other things that people have told me that they do. I don't know, maybe I'm not doing it right, but it never works. So if it's a cracked pot, I just break it back up and start all over again, especially at the top, because when you wet them, when you put slip on them, the crack goes further down on the pot, or it may look like it's patched, but when you fire it, the crack shows after the firing. So that's why I sometimes just don't even bother to fix it. If I notice a crack in it, then I just break it back up, because it's just a waste of time to paint it and then only to have it break in the firing, crack in the firing more.
Now, God forbid, but on the way home, and you haven't finished painting that piece of pottery, and it cracks or breaks, then what do you do with it?
You just have to break it back up.
And you can use the clay.
You can reuse the clay, yes.
Even though there's paint on it.
Yes, you can reuse it. It won't hurt the clay.
And in the firing, if it's cracked, then what do you do with it?
You really can't use it. You can use it some people still buy them when they're cracked. And sometimes you can patch it from the inside and then fire it, but I usually let them know, we have a whole bunch of cracked pots. They're right there. We just have them.
Maybe that's where
home.
that expression comes from, about people being cracked pots.
There you go.
Well, I know a lot of people, when their pieces crack in the firing, they just throw them away.
Yes, I keep mine unless they're really in bad shape. If they're for a plate, like with Amanda's, I know she was really upset the first time when she painted her plate, and she learned right away that you really have to pack the clay. I guess she had a lot of air bubbles in it because the whole plate cracked and popped. The pieces fell off the pot. So it's, those you really can't put back together or anything, so you just crush them back up. And some of it you can bury in the dirt, and I don't know what it is, but you can bury them in the dirt. But if you try to crush them back up right away, the pots that we make now, and you try to grind it up, like the old shards, they're hard.
Yeah.
They're really hard, and so it's best to go and collect the old shards, and that's what we add to our clay.
Well, if you bury them in the ground, an anthropologist 600 years from now will be able to dig them up and know what color hair you had and how old you were when you painted it.
Yeah.
Or at least they could guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So how many hours do you think will it take for you to finish that pot?
Gosh.
Or days?
Hopefully in 3 days I can finish, because I have to finish lining it first, and then go back and fill it in. And some places, like I don't know if you can see, some of these lines are light, so we have to go back and reline. So that takes time. And like I said, it takes about, for me, it takes about 2 to 3 hours just to go back and erase our mistakes, or to make sure that some places the paint has rubbed or gotten light, didn't fill in evenly. Then we have to go back and do that before we fire them.
Now, I've seen a few of your early pieces. I mean, long, long ago. Not when the, dinosaurs roamed the earth, but sort of when America was sort of rediscovered. And the designs were much, much bigger. When did they start to shrink?
On which pots?
On
my pots?
On your pots, because, you didn't start off doing this fine, fine work.
No, I started out the way I was taught, and the way my grandmother taught me, just doing the traditional designs. And that's how I painted all my pots. And then I don't like to copy people's designs. I think the only designs that I do are some of the designs like with the fine lines. The older people used to call that design samomoka. And they would paint that, and a lot of people paint that. But as far as, I always like to do I try my own designs. I try painting different designs. And I really admired, I think where I got my inspiration, or where I really looked up to the Lewis family and the Chino family. When I was younger, they would exhibit their pots at the Gallup Indian Ceremonial.
You mean the other Lewis family?
Yes, the other
like
Lucy Lewis and her daughters. There was
uh-huh.
Emma and Dolores, and they would exhibit their pots. And I was still a young girl at the time, and my grandparents would go to the Gallup ceremony, but they would set up a tent alongside the mesa there from the where they had the exhibitions, and we would set up tents, and my grandmother baked bread, and she would sell bread to the people there, or she would make tamales, and she would boil them there and sell. And our job, as kids, we went around selling bread and tamales.
How much was the bread?
The bread was 50 cents.
50 cents. And the tamales?
They were 50 cents.
They were 50. Oh, man, you guys are rich.
Mm-hmm. And so they would put them in flour sacks, and we would go around and sell. And sometimes my grandmother would tell us to trade the Navajos that had meat. They would have mutton, and we would trade bread for meat that's what we did. But when we were done selling, then my grandmother would give me $1 or, $2, and we would go down to the exhibits. And, I saw the Chino family, the Rose Grace, their mother Marie Z. Chino, and the Lewis family. They had all these beautiful ribbons, on their pots, and they would have the pots that they had at the exhibit. And that was always something that I, growing up, I saw, and I said, I hope one of these days I can be like these, these ladies. They make the beautiful pottery, and it was just so neat to see all that work on display. And I always wanted to do something like that. But, and then I did start making pottery. And then my grandmother and I sew, when I was younger, we sew along the old 66. And then we sewed directly, we're just right outside our home at Acoma. And
did Route 66 go that close to Acoma, Pueblo? That was
it was like about maybe 15 miles from Acoma. But that's where she sewed her pottery. a lot of the potters, the from Acoma would sit alongside the old 66 and sell
So
pottery.
they just, people pulled off the road and,
Yes.
and would purchase things?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They had like little sheds or little, that they had, and they would just put their white cloth out there, and and that's where they sold the pottery from. And we would sell, our parents used to tell us, then show the people that are passing by what we're selling. And we get a pot and we show them when they tourists drive by. That was our job.
Now they have those tube things that the air comes in and then flops around.
I remember doing that.
Well, you must have been the precursor for that idea.
Yes, and then they'll stop and they'll give us candy, or my grandmother would get scarves, or they give us comic books, and I even got a Shirley Temple doll one time. I remember that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And how
that's
old
what
were
we
you
did.
then?
I was like maybe 9, 10.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Can I ask how old you are now? Or are you not going to tell me?
Oh, my goodness. I am 70 years old.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. And how about that kid of yours? How old is she?
You want to tell them? Come on,
I'm
tell them.
37.
You're 37. Wow. And so skilled, my goodness.
Yeah, we were just telling them about how when she doesn't sign her pottery, that I feel like I can sign them.
That's funny, yeah.
Can you talk about this plate for a second? You remember it?
Yeah. Okay, so this one has the feather pattern in the middle, and then the black and, let's see, the fine lines, and this is the snowflake pattern type.
That's called the snowflake
Yeah.
pattern. And then that one in the middle, that always represents North Star.
Yeah, that's what I was going to, I'm getting a cramp. Like a North Star pattern in there for guidance, and then you got your feathers in there for protection.
Hold on 1 second, okay, Robert. Well, thanks. So Robert is buying this and just wanted to say thank you for your beautiful work.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoy your piece.
Well, there you go.
I'm getting a
What
Stand
happened?
up.
What happened to your back?
It's cold. Get up. Stand up.
Let me go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Are you hooked to a microphone?
Getting a cramp. Careful. Get that microphone.
Now, is Acoma Pueblo open?
No, not right now. You okay?
So only the people that live there can come and go.
Okay. It's not open right now, but it's totally closed to the public. Even with our own people, you have to make sure there's a checkpoint where you have to show proof of vaccination. So it's still closed. Hopefully it'll open up. A lot of the roads have opened back up. Last year, all the roads were closed in and out of Acoma. There was only one way in and one way out.
And that's for the
So-
people who live there only?
Yes, mhm,
Uh-huh.
yes, and non-residents were not allowed to go up. So with my kids, they live, and my grandkids lived in Albuquerque, they weren't allowed to go up. They had to stay away till just recently they were able to go up.
So what are you doing there?
I just added more water because the paint is getting thick. You have to add water every now and then because it does get thick.
And when it gets thick, when you add water, does it change color a little?
No, not really. It doesn't. But if you add too much water, yes, it will. It'll get light. The paint will get light.
And if it's too thick, will it pop
if
off?
it's too, yes, it will flake off after the firing, so you have to make sure that it's the right consistency, the paint.
So hopefully we're going to see these little gems that you're working on in the
Next week.
gallery soon. Yay. Well, does it make it really hard if the Pueblo is closed? I mean, how can Amazon deliver packages?
They were still able to. UPS, I believe, was able to deliver things, but it was those. I think they were the only ones that were able to go up. But they just honk their horn, and they just drop off your package, and they're gone.
Well, we have to talk about all the important things in life, right? Making
Yes.
sure you get your Amazon packages.
Yeah.
Well, it sure is fun to watch you paint, Rebecca.
It can be fun, and the thrill I get out of painting is when I try a new design. I'm always anxious to see how it's going to come out. So that's what I like doing.
It's just mesmerizing to see you do that, little line after little line. And what's really interesting, you know, if you go to our website and then click on artists and then click on Rebecca Lucario, when the photograph of the pot appears, keep pushing that plus sign and watch the design get bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon something that's, you know, 1/4 of an inch on your screen is 8 by 8 inches, and every single one of those lines is even and straight. It's really, really amazing. How's your eyesight doing? Was that
It's
was
always
that a giggle?
bad. Yes. It's just I had cataract surgery, but it's my left eye right now. It's excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna start drinking the pain, huh?
Yeah.
Would you like some water?
Oh, yes, please.
It's coming over. Derek, can you get Rebecca some water, please? Thank you. Boy, both you and Amanda are falling apart.
Yes.
Well, at least we'll get to see what your whole face looks like when you drink the water.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek.
You're welcome. Sorry it took so long.
What was the question? I know you had a question.
Oh, you know, I'm older than you are. I can't remember anything.
Oh, my
Those
eyesight.
questions.
It was about my eyesight.
Oh, your eyesight.
On my left side right now, I can't see very well. It's like looking through plastic. It's not clear. So I only, you know, like paint for a few hours at a time. And then I'll go back to painting. But on the average, I paint like maybe 4 hours a day. I'll paint for maybe 1 or 2 hours in the morning, like after 9, and then close to noon, I'll take a break. I'll go over back to my house, and I have a separate place where I work on my pots and my gallery there where I make and paint and have all my stuff there. So I'll go back over, have lunch, and just move around. I don't like to sit for long periods of time, or I'll go for a short walk if it's in the summertime. Then I come back to my pottery and then spend maybe another couple hours in the afternoon. Then it's already time to fix dinner. So at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I have to go back over and do something. So it's like that. On the average, it's 4 to 5 hours a day that I paint.
Sounds like you have a full-time job.
Every day. And then I'm still over there late at night. I'm not painting. I can't paint because I need the sunlight to paint. So when I go back over after dinner, after doing dishes, then I go back over to my gallery and my shop, and I'll either be mixing more paint for the next day because it takes time to get the black paint. And I found a trick. Of course, we always learn to do things as we go along. Like for my paint, the small pieces like this one here, the small ones like this, as they get small, I just take them outside, and I have a rock. It's like a big old, my grinding rock, the rock that I use to grind my clay on. I know some people have those regular grinders. They put the clay in there and grind it. I still grind mine on the rock. So I just, on that rock, when I take all the, I'll get a brush and clean it off, and I'll put my, these little rocks on there, and then I just crush them up. I crush them up, and I grind them, and I have them in a little, like a little jar. So when I'm really in a hurry, or I need, if I put too much water in my paint, and it's not getting thick, because it takes time to mix the paint, just rubbing the rock on there. So I'll get some of that and just, it's already in powder form, so I just add it and then mix it, and then mix my bee wheat plant to it. So that's how I do it. But I'm always like doing things, and then or I'm mixing. Maybe I soaked some paint, then I'll go and strain my paint. So there's always something to do. I'm always over there.
Feeling better?
Yeah.
So that's it's a lot of work. Takes a lot of time, and sometimes we can't sit there and do it. Sometimes I'll take a break, so I'll go to the casino. Or I'll go to town, or do my grocery shopping or something.
So you sell your pots here, and then you go to the casino? And I noticed the casino was mentioned before the grocery store.
Yeah.
So we have a wonderful comment from the gentleman who just bought Amanda's plate, and the comment is Robert now has a piece of yours, Rebecca, one of your sons, Daniel's, and now one of Amanda's, and they are at home in Connecticut watching on their 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, yay! Happy anniversary! That's about what, 15 times? Yeah, happy anniversary. That's about 15 times the national average of staying married. Hallelujah.
Yes.
Well, that's congratulations.
Yes, my 50th wedding anniversary was in October of this year.
Oh, yeah? Married to that handsome guy of yours?
Yeah, still the same person.
Still the same person. Wow, 50 years, that's a long time.
Yep, it's a long time.
Yeah. Well, this has really been a fun hour to chat with you and talk about some of the old times and the new times. We are looking forward to this pandemic just going away.
Yes.
And that Swaya the Southwestern Association for Indian Arts, who puts on Indian Market every year. We hope that they will be able to do an Indian Market this year, because this year will be their 100th anniversary.
That's right.
It will be nice.
And they have certainly come a long way. There are a few books that have been written about Indian Market. And, the first Indian Market sort of started off like you and your family did, Rebecca. With the women sitting underneath the portal with a sheet spread out,
Yes.
and their work spread or there for people to come and admire and to purchase from them. But Indian Market is a huge economic input into the Native American culture. Have you talked to people that have had difficulty because of the lack of Indian Market?
Yes, and that was really, heartbreaking, because of a lot of our people depend on, that's their only income, is the pottery. So with the tourists coming through, the tourist season usually starts in about May and lasts on September. And then after September 2nd, it starts slowing down. But Acoma, is usually open year round. And even though business slows down after September, we have a lot of the people who just depend on the pottery. It really hurt them. It hurt a lot of people to survive this COVID. But a lot of them were able to build up their inventory, and they did try to set up a place in back of the casino parking lot. They had a place where some of the artists could set up their work, and they did okay. And some of them are sitting up outside it's Skyway west of Anzac, the village east of Grants. There's like a little gas station there, and some of the people were setting up their work there to sell. But it's been difficult. It's been a hard year.
So we have another question from the internet, and that question is do you teach other Acoma potters, or do you keep your techniques kind of to yourself?
Well, I usually start with my family, and like I said, I'm really glad that my daughter is interested in it. And we did have a pottery class, and there have been some pottery classes taught by other potters from the community. And I always invite the people, and I tell them, the young artists, if you want to learn, my door is open. I have no secrets. I try to share what I've learned over the years on how to make pottery, where to find their paints, their clays. But that's what a lot of them always go back to, is why I don't have a rock to mix my paint on there. Or I don't know where to get the paint. People say, it's over there, but you never have anybody saying, let's go to take you by the hand and show you exactly where it's at. And for me, that's what I do. I say, I'll show you, I'll take you. And I've taken some people to where I get my paints and where I get my clays and how to process that. Franklin, what's his name?
Peters.
Peters is the only person that I know of that has always come back asking questions. And I've told him how to process his clay, or he would say, well, how come my paint is rubbing, or, how much shards do I add? And some people say, you just add a little bit. Well, how much is a little bit? How much clay do you put in a pan, and how much shards? Is it 2 hands full, or a cup, or whatever? And I think that we need to share that kind of information, show them, teach them the right way so that this art is, continues. Because like I said, a lot of them have gone to the commercial clays and paints, and it's hard. Yes, I know it's hard. And that's the thing that, a lot of them do is like the slip cast pots, because it's, you can buy a mold and pour the pots and paint them. But to me, it's like I would encourage those people that are doing that to try to do the traditional way of making our pottery, because that's our art, that's our tradition. That's what our people are known for. So I always tell them, come ask me. Ask me where I get my paints. Ask me where we collect these different colors. I know that people say, oh, those Lewis's, I know they use commercial paint. But it took a long time to get those paints, the paints that my sisters use and that I used to use. I know earlier that's how I started out. I used the colors, different colors. But I don't know, maybe I got lazy, or to me it was just too much work, because once you fill in those colors, you have to reline the whole thing on the pots, the colors. So I've mostly just gone back to just regular black and white and orange, a few colors, and that's about what I do now.
Now, Rebecca, correct me if I'm wrong. You're talking about the people you teach and your door is always open. Mm-hmm. That's for people from Acoma, Pueblo, yes. Mm-hmm. Not for outsiders. No. So if there's, someone from California mm-hmm. who wants to learn how to make Indian pots, mm-hmm. they're not going to learn from you. And they're not, and Acoma Pueblo's materials, mm-hmm. like the paints and the clay and everything, mm-hmm. are not available to anyone except the people from Acoma.
Yes.
Okay, good, because I wanted to make that clear. I just didn't want, all these cars driving up to your
off the hook.
Your phone ringing off the hook is right. Oh, so that's why I can't get in touch with you anymore. Well, we are just about finished here for this nice little interview with you gals. I'm so happy to see you, and thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And
thank you for having us.
Yeah, well, it's lots of fun to have you guys. Always. I mean, the giggle meter should be out.
But you should have heard us. All my kids, when we were all home, oh my gosh, I think we almost had security to come over and tell us that we were being too loud. The kids were laughing and giggling and telling all kinds of stories and teasing one another.
Well,
so
it's
it was
true.
Fun
I always tell everyone when you get together with those 4 other sisters of you that the laughter fills the room, and if it's outside, the laughter fills the outside as well. But anyway, Rebecca, thank you so much. And we're going to be signing off now. It's Andrea Fisher at Andrea Fisher Fine Pottery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We've just spent a wonderful hour with Rebecca and Amanda Lucario, and thank you all for tuning in, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.